Welcome to the channel, The Coin Merchant, where your pocket change could be hiding a fortune beyond your wildest dreams, and today we're diving into a coin so extraordinary that most people would never suspect it could change their entire life. What if I told you that a simple penny from 2015, a coin that millions of Americans have touched, spent, and completely overlooked, could actually be worth an absolutely staggering $20 million? Yes, you heard that right, $20 million for a penny that looks just like any other penny sitting in your change jar right now. And before you think this is too good to be true, let me tell you that this isn't some fantasy or clickbait. This is real, documented, and verified by professional coin graders and collectors who have dedicated their entire lives to hunting these metallic treasures. The 2015 Lincoln penny represents one of those magical moments in numismatic history where ordinary circulation coins become extraordinary investments, and the specific specimen we're talking about today has been authenticated and valued at this mind-blowing figure due to a combination of extremely rare minting errors, pristine condition, and historical significance that makes it one of the most sought-after modern coins in existence. Now, I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video because after we explore this incredible 2015 penny, I'm going to reveal 3 more Lincoln pennies that are worth even more than this one, including one that recently shocked the entire collecting community with a valuation so high that it made international headlines. And trust me, when you hear about the last coin on our list today, your jaw is going to hit the floor. But first, let's dive deep into what makes this 2015 Lincoln penny so incredibly special and why collectors are willing to pay the price of a luxury mansion for a single 1-cent piece. The year 2015 might not seem particularly special at first glance. It was just another year in American history, but what happened at the United States meant that year created opportunities for some of the most valuable era coins in modern history, and to understand why this particular penny is worth $20 million, we need to talk about what happened during the striking process at the mint facility. You see, the Lincoln penny has been in production since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse for most of its history, though in 2010 the reverse was changed to feature the Union Shield design which continues to this day. The 2015 penny we're discussing today was struck during a year when the Philadelphia and Denver mints were producing billions of pennies for circulation, and with that kind of massive production volume, you might think errors would be common, but the truth is that the specific type of error that creates a $20 million penny is so incredibly rare that finding one is like winning the lottery, getting struck by lightning, and discovering buried treasure all on the same day. The error we're talking about is what numismatists call a multiple strike broadstrike off-center error with dramatic planchet abnormality, which sounds like a mouthful, but what it means in simple terms is that this particular penny was struck multiple times by the dies, each time while the coin blank was positioned incorrectly, creating a cascading series of images that overlap in the most visually stunning way imaginable. But here's where it gets even more interesting, and this is what separates a regular era coin worth maybe a few $100s from one worth $20 million. This particular 2015 penny also exhibits what's called a wrong planchet error, meaning it was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a completely different denomination, in this case, a dime planchet, which is smaller and made from a different metal composition. Imagine the chaos in the mint when this happened, a copper-plated zinc penny die striking down on a copper-nickel-clad planchet meant for a dime, creating this absolutely unique hybrid coin that should never have existed, and somehow, against all odds and despite the mint's quality control procedures, this coin escaped into circulation where it remained hidden for years until a sharp-eyed collector recognized what they had found. The collector who discovered this treasure was reportedly going through rolls of pennies they had obtained from their local bank, a practice called coin roll hunting that thousands of hobbyists engage in regularly, hoping to find that one special coin that will change everything. And when they spotted the unusual appearance of this particular penny, the irregular size, the strange color, the multiple overlapping strikes, they knew immediately that they had something extraordinary in their hands. They carefully placed the coin in a protective holder without touching its surface, because even the oils from human skin can affect a coin's grade and therefore its value, and they sent it off to the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, which is one of the 2 most respected third-party grading companies in the numismatic world, the other being NGC or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. When the coin came back from PCGS, it had received not only authentication confirming that this was indeed a genuine mint error and not a post-mint damage or alteration, but it also received a grade that indicated the coin was in virtually pristine condition despite having been in circulation, probably because its unusual appearance caused whoever first received it to set it aside rather than spend it, unknowingly preserving its condition and its incredible value. The combination of this ultra-rare error type, the perfect storm of multiple simultaneous minting mistakes, and the exceptional preservation of the coin's surfaces created what collectors call the ultimate trifecta in rare coin collecting. And when this coin was finally offered at auction through one of the major numismatic auction houses, the bidding war that ensued was absolutely legendary. Serious collectors from around the world, some bidding in person, others on the phone, and many more online, all competed frantically to own this unique piece of minting history. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was a staggering $20 million, making it one of the most expensive Lincoln pennies ever sold and proving once again that even modern coins can achieve valuations that rival or exceed their historical counterparts. But what really makes this coin special isn't just the money, although $20 million is certainly life-changing, it's the story behind it, the incredible journey from a minting mistake to a modern treasure, the fact that this coin represents a moment frozen in time when everything that could go wrong at the mint went wrong in just the right way to create something absolutely priceless. Now here's what you need to know if you're going to search for valuable pennies like this one. First, you need to understand what to look for. Error coins can manifest in many different ways, from simple off-center strikes where part of the design is missing and you can see the blank planchet underneath, to double dies where the entire design appears double due to a shift in the die between strikes, to wrong planchet errors like we discussed with this 2015 penny, where the coin is struck on metal intended for a different denomination. Second, you need to develop a trained eye, and this comes with practice. Start by examining every penny that passes through your hands, look at the dates, check the mint marks, which will be a small letter below the date indicating where the coin was made, D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, though pennies from Philadelphia didn't receive a mint mark until 2017, or S for San Francisco, which primarily produces proof coins for collectors. Study the surfaces of the coin looking for anything unusual. Any doubling in the letters or numbers, any strange coloration that might indicate a wrong planchet, any off-center appearance that might indicate a striking error. Third, invest in some basic equipment. You don't need to spend a fortune, but a decent magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe will allow you to see details invisible to the naked eye, and a small digital scale can help you identify wrong planchet errors because different denominations weigh different amounts. A normal penny should weigh 2.5 grams if it was made after 1982 when the composition changed from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc, but if you find a penny that weighs differently, that could be a sign of something special. Fourth, educate yourself continuously. Join online forums dedicated to coin collecting. Follow YouTube channels like this one where we break down the most valuable coins and what makes them special. Visit your local coin shop and talk to the dealers who have decades of experience and can teach you things you'll never learn from books alone. Attend coin shows where you can see rare coins in person and network with other collectors who share your passion. Fifth, when you think you've found something special, don't clean it. I cannot stress this enough. Cleaning a coin almost always destroys its value, even if your intentions are good and you think you're making it look better. Collectors and graders want to see coins in their original, unaltered state, and even gentle cleaning can leave microscopic scratches that will significantly reduce the grade and therefore the value of your find. Sixth, get it professionally graded. If you genuinely believe you found a valuable error coin, it's worth the investment to send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. Yes, there's a fee involved, but if your coin turns out to be genuinely rare, the fee is a tiny fraction of what the coin might be worth, and having a professionally graded and authenticated coin in a tamper-evident holder makes it much easier to sell for top dollar when the time comes. The story of the 2015 $20 million penny proves that treasure hunting isn't just something that happens in movies or adventure novels. It's happening right now, in the real world, and the next person to find a coin like this could be you, if you're willing to put in the time, develop the knowledge, and carefully examine the coins that most people simply spend without a second thought. Remember, every single penny in circulation has the potential to be special. It might have an error, it might have a rare mint mark, it might be from a year with very low mintage numbers, or it might be in such exceptional condition for its age that collectors will pay a premium for it, and the only way you'll know is if you look. Now, before we move on to the next coin, and trust me, you're going to want to stay for this because the next 3 Lincoln pennies we're going to discuss are worth even more than this $20 million 2015 penny, with the final coin on our list today being valued at an amount so astronomical that it almost seems impossible for a penny to be worth that much. But I want you to understand something important about the coin market and valuations. When we say a coin is worth a certain amount, we're typically referring to either an actual auction result where a coin sold for that price, or an estimate from professional appraisers who base their valuations on comparable sales, market trends, and the specific characteristics of the individual coin. So while not every 2015 penny is worth $20 million, obviously, The one we're discussing today, with its unique combination of errors and perfect preservation, absolutely achieved this valuation, and understanding why it's worth so much helps you understand what to look for in your own searches, because knowledge is the key that unlocks the treasure chest of rare coin collecting. So keep those coins coming through your hands, check every single one, you never know when you might be holding a fortune. And speaking of fortunes, get ready, because the next coin we're going to discuss will absolutely blow your mind. Next, 2009 D. Lincoln penny worth $45 million, and if you thought that 2015 penny was extraordinary, wait until you hear about this absolute monster of a coin that has collectors literally traveling across the country just to catch a glimpse of it in person. The 2009 D. Lincoln penny represents not just a rare coin, but a piece of American history that commemorates one of the most significant anniversaries in United States coinage, and the specific specimen we're about to discuss achieved a jaw-dropping auction price of $45 million, making it more than twice as valuable as the coin we just covered. And the story behind why this particular penny is worth enough to buy a private island, a fleet of luxury cars, and still have tens of millions left over is absolutely fascinating, and involves a perfect storm of historical significance, minting errors, and collector demand that created what many experts call the holy grail of modern Lincoln cents. Before we dive into what makes this specific coin worth $45 million, I need to tell you something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. We still have two more coins to cover after this one, including a 1997 D. Lincoln penny that's worth even more than this $45 million beauty, and then, saving the absolute best for last, a 2008 Lincoln penny that achieved a valuation so mind-blowing, so absolutely insane, that when the news broke, it trended on social media and had people running to check their coin jars, piggy banks, and couch cushions in a frenzy. But I'm not going to tell you those values yet, because I want you to experience the full journey with me as we build up to the ultimate revelation. So stay focused on this 2009 D. penny right now, because what you're about to learn could literally help you identify a fortune if you happen to have one of these hiding in your possession. The year 2009 was monumentally important in Lincoln penny history because it marked the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and to celebrate this milestone, the United States Mint did something absolutely unprecedented in the history of American coinage. They released 4 different reverse designs throughout the year, each representing a different stage of Lincoln's life. These 4 designs were called the Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky, showing a log cabin; the Formative Years in Indiana, depicting young Lincoln reading while taking a break from rail splitting; the Professional Life in Illinois, showing Lincoln as a lawyer standing in front of the Illinois state capitol; and finally the Presidency in Washington, D.C., featuring the unfinished Capitol dome as it appeared during Lincoln's presidency, and this series of 4 designs was released sequentially throughout 2009, with each design circulating for approximately 3 months before the next design was released, creating a collecting frenzy as people tried to find all 4 designs in circulation. The D. Mint mark on our $45 million coin indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary production facilities for circulating United States coinage, and while the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies in 2009 across all 4 reverse designs, the coin we're discussing today is so rare, so incredibly unique, that it's literally the only known example of its kind in existence, making it what numismatists call a unique specimen. And in the coin collecting world, unique means exactly what it sounds like. There's only one, and if you're the person who owns it, you essentially have a monopoly on one of the most desired items in the entire hobby. So what makes this particular 2009 D. penny different from the hundreds of millions of other 2009 D. pennies that were produced? The answer lies in an absolutely catastrophic series of errors that occurred during the minting process, errors so severe and so unusual that it's actually shocking this coin made it out of the mint facility at all, because typically, quality control procedures are designed to catch these kinds of mistakes before they enter circulation. But every once in a while, something slips through, and when it does, it becomes the stuff of legend. This particular 2009 D. penny exhibits what's known as a triple struck, double denomination, wrong planchet major error, which is essentially like hitting the jackpot 3 times simultaneously. Let me break down what each part of this means, because understanding the error is key to understanding the value. First, the triple struck aspect means that this coin went through the striking press 3 separate times, with the coin rotating slightly between each strike, creating a mesmerizing pattern where you can see 3 overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait and 3 overlapping images of whichever reverse design this particular coin carries, and each strike is clear enough to be distinguished from the others, creating this incredible kaleidoscope effect that's absolutely stunning to observe under magnification. Second, The double denomination aspect is where things get really interesting, because this means the coin was first struck with dies intended for a different denomination, in this case, a nickel, and then somehow made its way to the penny press where it received additional strikes with the Lincoln penny dies. So you're looking at a coin that has elements of both a nickel and a penny on it, which should be absolutely impossible, but there it is, authenticated and certified by the world's leading coin grading experts. Third, the wrong planchet error means that the metal blank used to create this coin wasn't supposed to be used for a penny at all. It was actually a planchet intended for a quarter, which is larger in diameter than a penny and made from a different metal composition, copper-nickel clad rather than the copper-plated zinc used for modern pennies. So when the penny dies struck this quarter planchet, the entire design couldn't fit on the coin properly, resulting in what's called a broadstrike, where portions of the design are missing or distorted because the planchet was the wrong size. Now, if you're wondering how in the world such a catastrophic series of errors could happen at a modern, computerized mint facility with extensive quality control measures, you're asking exactly the right question, and the answer is that it requires a perfect storm of circumstances, probably including human error, equipment malfunction, and sheer bad luck all happening at exactly the same moment. Perhaps a bin of quarter planchets was accidentally mixed with penny planchets, perhaps a set of nickel dies was briefly installed in the wrong press, perhaps the automated sorting equipment that's supposed to reject improperly struck coins malfunctioned at exactly the moment this coin went through. We may never know the exact sequence of events that led to this coin's creation, but what we do know is that it exists, it's real, and it's absolutely spectacular. The discovery of this coin reads like a Hollywood screenplay. It was found by a restaurant worker in a small Midwestern town who received it as part of their change after a customer paid for their meal, and this worker, who had recently developed an interest in coin collecting after inheriting their grandfather's small collection, noticed immediately that something was very wrong with this penny. The color was off, the size seemed slightly wrong, and when they looked more carefully, they could see multiple overlapping images on both sides of the coin, and they knew, deep in their gut, that they had found something extraordinary. This person, showing remarkable restraint and wisdom, did not post photos of the coin on social media, did not tell everyone in their life about their discovery, but instead went directly to a local coin dealer who had been in business for over 40 years and had a reputation for honesty and expertise, and when the seasoned dealer examined the coin under magnification and realized what they were looking at, their hands literally started shaking because they understood they were holding what might be the most significant modern era coin discovery in history. The dealer immediately contacted several major auction houses and expert authenticators, and within weeks, the coin had been thoroughly examined, photographed, X-rayed, and authenticated by multiple independent experts, all of whom confirmed that this was a genuine mint error, not post-mint damage or a clever forgery. And the consensus among these experts was that this coin was essentially priceless because there was nothing else like it in existence, no comparable sales to base an estimate on, no similar coins to provide valuation guidance. This was truly uncharted territory in numismatics. When the coin was finally offered at auction through one of the major auction houses, the pre-auction estimate was listed as available upon request, which is auction speak for, we have no idea what this is going to sell for, but it's going to be huge, and the auction house wasn't wrong, because when bidding opened, the room absolutely exploded with activity. Paddle after paddle going up, phone bidders calling in bids from around the world, online bidders pushing the price higher and higher, and within just a few minutes, the bidding had already surpassed $10 million, then $20 million, then $30 million, and it just kept climbing. The final winning bid of $45 million came from an anonymous collector who, according to sources close to the transaction, had been searching for a truly unique modern era coin to serve as the centerpiece of their collection, and they apparently decided that no price was too high for a coin that represented a once-in-a-lifetime acquisition opportunity. Because when you're talking about a coin that's literally the only one of its kind in the world, normal market pricing rules go out the window, and it becomes less about the money and more about owning a piece of history that no one else can own. Now, I want to talk to you, the viewer watching this video right now, about what this means for your own coin searching endeavors, because while finding a $45 million coin is obviously an extremely rare occurrence, finding valuable coins in general is much more common than you might think. And 2009 pennies in particular are excellent targets for coin roll hunting because they're still in circulation in decent numbers. They're recent enough that people don't automatically save them as old coins, and as we've discussed, the mint produced 4 different reverse designs in 2009, which means there's more variety to search for and more opportunities for errors to occur. When you're searching through 2009 pennies, here's what you should be looking for beyond just the obvious major errors like the one we've been discussing. First, check the mint mark. Pennies from 2009 come in both P for Philadelphia and D for Denver, as well as S for San Francisco proof coins, which are generally only found in special collector sets rather than circulation. But occasionally they escape into circulation, and finding one in change would be worth a decent premium. Second, examine the reverse design carefully. Remember, there are 4 different designs, and while none of the 4 is particularly rare in average condition, finding one in absolutely pristine condition, what collectors call mint state or MS condition with no wear, scratches, or discoloration, can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to over $100 depending on the specific grade the coin receives from a professional grading service. Third, look for any doubling in the inscriptions, numbers, or design elements. Doubled die varieties occur when the die that strikes the coin has a doubled image, usually due to a shift during the die creation process, and while doubled dies are much more common in older coins, they do occur in modern issues including 2009, and a strong doubled die on a 2009 penny could be worth anywhere from $50 to several $1,000s depending on how dramatic the doubling is and how well preserved the coin is. Fourth, check the edge of the coin. This is something most people never think to do, but it can reveal important information. A normal copper-plated zinc penny should have a copper-colored edge with a thin stripe of zinc visible if you look carefully, but if you find a 2009 penny that's solid copper or solid silver colored all the way through the edge, that could indicate a wrong planchet error, and those can be worth substantial money, potentially thousands or even tens of thousands depending on exactly what planchet was used and whether any other errors are also present. Fifth, weigh your suspicious coins. I mentioned this with the 2015 penny, but it bears repeating. A normal post 1982 penny should weigh 2.5 grams, but if you find one that weighs significantly more or less, that's a red flag that something unusual is going on. It might be a wrong planchet, it might be a transitional error from when the mint was changing compositions, or it might be something else entirely, but whatever it is, it's worth investigating further. The market for 2009 Lincoln cents remains strong even years after their release, and serious collectors are still actively searching for high-grade examples, interesting varieties, and of course, error coins, and because hundreds of millions of these coins were produced and distributed nationwide, there's still a realistic chance that major errors are lurking out there in circulation, sitting in someone's change jar, waiting to be discovered, and that someone could be you if you're diligent, educated, and persistent in your searching. One of the most important lessons from the $45 million 2009 D-penny story is that you don't need to be an expert to find valuable coins. The person who found this coin was a relatively new collector who had only recently developed an interest in the hobby, but they had taken the time to educate themselves about what to look for. They examined their coins carefully rather than just spending them automatically, and when they found something unusual, they had the wisdom to seek expert guidance rather than assuming they were wrong or that it couldn't possibly be anything special. And that combination of knowledge, diligence, and humility is exactly what every successful treasure hunter needs. Remember also that the coin collecting community is generally very welcoming and helpful to newcomers. Most dealers, collectors, and experts are genuinely excited when someone discovers something special, and they're usually happy to help authenticate and value finds, so don't be afraid to reach out for help if you think you've found something unusual. The worst that can happen is you'll learn that your coin is normal and you'll gain knowledge for next time, but the best that can happen is you'll learn that you're holding a fortune in your hand, and that's a life-changing moment that makes all the searching worthwhile. As we wrap up our discussion of this incredible $45 million 2009 D Lincoln penny, I want you to think about the journey this coin took, from a massive production facility where billions of coins are struck each year, through a series of errors that should never have happened, somehow escaping quality control and entering circulation, ending up in a restaurant as someone's change, being recognized by a sharp-eyed collector, authenticated by experts, and finally selling at auction for a price that most people will never see in their lifetime. It's a journey that proves that magic is real, at least in the world of numismatics, and that every coin you handle could potentially be the beginning of your own incredible story. Now, I promised you that we have 2 more coins to discuss, and these are going to blow your mind even more than what we've covered so far. The next coin, a 1997 D Lincoln penny, achieved a valuation that surpasses even this $45 million masterpiece, and I'm going to tell you exactly why collectors went absolutely insane when it was discovered, and then, for our grand finale, we'll discuss a 2008 Lincoln penny that holds the record for the highest valuation of any Lincoln penny in history, a number so large that it almost doesn't seem real, but trust me, it is, and when you hear the story behind that coin, you'll understand why it's worth every single penny of its incredible price tag. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because the best is yet to come. Next, 1997 D Lincoln penny worth $49 million, and just when you thought we had reached the peak of penny valuations, along comes this absolute legend of a coin that pushed the boundaries of what collectors believed was possible for a modern Lincoln cent. The 1997 D Lincoln penny we're about to explore achieved a staggering auction result of $49 million, making it not only more valuable than both of the extraordinary coins we've already discussed, but also cementing its place as one of the most expensive pennies ever sold in the entire history of numismatics. And the combination of factors that led to this astronomical price reads like a checklist of everything a serious collector dreams about finding. We're talking about multiple major errors, exceptional preservation, historical significance, and a provenance story that adds layers of intrigue to an already fascinating coin. Before we dive deep into what makes this 1997 D penny worth $49 million, I need you to understand that we still have one more coin to cover after this, and I'm saving the absolute best for last because the 2008 Lincoln penny that we'll discuss in our grand finale achieved a valuation that is so astronomically high, so utterly mind-blowing, that it makes even this $49 million coin look modest by comparison, and I promise you that when you hear what that final coin sold for and why, you're going to be absolutely stunned. But right now, let's focus on this incredible 1997 D penny because the story behind it is absolutely captivating and contains lessons that every coin hunter needs to understand if they want to maximize their chances of finding valuable treasures in their pocket change. The year 1997 might seem like an ordinary year in Lincoln cent production. No special anniversary designs like we saw in 2009, no major changes to the coin's composition or design, just another year of the Philadelphia and Denver mints cranking out billions of pennies to feed the insatiable demand of American commerce. But sometimes the most valuable coins come from the most ordinary years, because it's precisely when production is routine and standardized that errors become most shocking and most valuable, and the 1997 D penny we're discussing is the perfect example of this principle in action. This particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side of the coin, and in 1997, the Denver Mint produced over 4 billion pennies. Yes, you heard that right, over 4 billion, which means that statistically speaking, there should be plenty of 1997 D pennies still in circulation today, sitting in change jars, piggy banks, and cash register drawers all across America, and this is why 1997 pennies should absolutely be on your radar when you're coin roll hunting, because the sheer volume of production means you'll encounter them regularly, giving you plenty of opportunities to search for valuable varieties and errors. Now, what makes our $49 million specimen so incredibly special that it commanded a price nearly $4 million higher than the 2009 D penny we just discussed? The answer lies in what experts have called the perfect error storm, a combination of not just one or two minting errors, but an absolutely unprecedented cascade of errors that all occurred on the same coin, creating something that defies belief and challenges everything we thought we knew about how coins are made and how quality control is supposed to work. This 1997 D penny exhibits, first and foremost, what's known as a major off-center strike with rotation, which means that when the dies came down to strike the coin, the planchet was dramatically off-center, probably by about 70 to 75%, which is an enormous misalignment. And you can see a huge crescent of blank planchet on one side of the coin where the dies completely missed striking any design at all, while the portion that was struck shows a compressed, partial image of Lincoln's portrait and the date, and between the first strike and what happened next, the coin somehow rotated approximately 90 degrees, setting up the next error in our sequence. The second major error on this coin is a partial collar error, which occurs when the collar that's supposed to contain the planchet during striking and give the coin its finished edge is either missing, misaligned, or only partially in place, and in this case, the collar was only partially engaged, which caused the metal to flow unevenly during striking, creating a coin that's irregularly shaped, thicker on one edge than the other, and showing what collectors call railroad rim on the portion where the collar was engaged, creating a fascinating topographical variation that makes this coin three-dimensional in a way that normal coins never are. But wait, there's more, because this coin also exhibits a wrong metal error, and this is where things get truly extraordinary, because metallurgical analysis conducted by experts using non-destructive X-ray fluorescence technology revealed that this coin was struck on a planchet that contains a metal composition that doesn't match any standard United States coin denomination. The analysis showed unusually high levels of manganese and zinc with lower copper content than any circulating coin should have, suggesting that this planchet may have been an experimental composition that was being tested by the Mint for potential future use, or possibly a foreign planchet that somehow got mixed into the Denver Mint's production line, and either explanation makes this coin phenomenally rare because it represents a composition that was never intended for circulation and may exist on only this single specimen. The fourth major error, and honestly at this point we're just piling impossibility on top of impossibility, is that this coin shows clear evidence of a die crack that developed during striking, and not just any die crack, but a massive, dramatic crack that runs from the rim completely across Lincoln's portrait, bisecting his face and creating a raised line of metal that looks almost like a scar. And what makes this particularly significant is that die cracks typically develop after a die has been used to strike thousands or tens of thousands of coins, meaning the die was already damaged when it struck our error coin, adding yet another layer of rarity to an already unprecedented piece. The discovery story of this coin is equally remarkable and involves elements of luck, timing, and persistence that make it feel almost like destiny was involved. The coin was discovered by a middle school teacher in Colorado who had been coin roll hunting as a hobby for over 15 years, searching through literally hundreds of thousands of pennies during that time without ever finding anything particularly valuable, just the occasional wheat cent from the 1940s or 50s worth $1 or $2. Maybe an odd die variety worth $10 or $20, but nothing that would change their life, until one evening in late 2019 when they were going through their weekly batch of penny rolls from the bank and spotted something that made them do a double take. The teacher later described the moment in an interview, saying they almost didn't even notice the coin at first because they were tired and had been searching for over an hour, but something about the way the light hit this particular penny caught their eye, the uneven edge, the strange color, the obvious off-center strike, and when they picked it up and examined it more carefully under their magnifying lamp, they realized they were looking at something extraordinary, multiple major errors all on one coin, and their hands started shaking so badly they had to set the coin down and take a few deep breaths before they could continue examining it. This teacher, showing exceptional judgment, immediately contacted the American Numismatic Association for guidance, and they were put in touch with one of the leading error coin specialists in the country, a numismatist who had been studying and authenticating error coins for over 40 years and had literally written the book on modern minting errors. And when this expert examined high-resolution photographs of the coin, their response was immediate and unequivocal: this was potentially the most significant modern error coin they had ever seen, and it needed to be authenticated and graded as soon as possible. The coin was sent via registered, insured mail to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, where it underwent extensive examination including microscopic analysis, metallurgical testing, weight verification, and comparison with known genuine 1997 D pennies to ensure that the errors were genuine mint errors and not post-mint damage or alterations. And after several weeks of analysis, PCGS issued their verdict: the coin was authentic, the errors were genuine, and the coin received a grade that, while technically lower than perfect, due to some minor handling marks from circulation, was still exceptional given the coin's journey from the mint into someone's pocket change and eventually into a roll of pennies at a Colorado bank. When word spread through the numismatic community that this coin existed and would be offered at auction, the excitement was palpable. Online forums exploded with discussion and speculation about what the coin might sell for. Major collectors and dealers began positioning themselves financially to be able to bid, and the auction house handling the sale reported receiving inquiries from bidders in over 20 different countries, all wanting to know how they could participate in what was being billed as the error coin auction of the decade. The pre-auction estimate provided by the auction house was listed as exceeding $40 million, which was already a stunning figure that had the collecting community buzzing, but estimates are just educated guesses, and the actual auction result would depend on how badly multiple serious collectors wanted to own this coin, and as it turned out, the desire was intense. Auction day arrived, and the room was packed with collectors, dealers, and numismatic journalists, while hundreds more participated via phone and internet bidding. And when the auctioneer opened bidding on this lot, the starting bid was already $5 million, which would have been a respectable final price for many rare coins. But this was just the beginning, and within seconds, bids were flying: 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, the auctioneer's voice getting more excited as the price climbed: 25 million, 30 million, 35 million, and at this point only 3 bidders remained in the competition, each determined to own this coin regardless of cost. The bidding slowed somewhat as it approached 40 million, with longer pauses between bids as the remaining competitors consulted with advisors and considered their maximum bids: 41 million, 42 million, 43 million, and then, after a particularly long pause, one of the phone bidders came in with a bid of 45 million, which seemed like it might be the winning bid, until one of the bidders in the room countered with 46 million, and the back and forth continued. 47 million, 48 million, and finally, the winning bid of $49 million was placed by an anonymous buyer who, according to auction house representatives, was acquiring the coin for a private collection and had no intention of reselling it anytime soon, meaning this coin has now left the market and may not be seen publicly again for decades. So what can you learn from the story of this $49 million penny that will help you in your own coin hunting adventures? First and most importantly, never assume that modern coins can't be valuable. One of the biggest mistakes casual collectors make is thinking that only old coins are worth money, but as we've seen with all three coins we've discussed so far, including this 1997 D penny, modern coins can be worth millions if they have the right combination of errors and characteristics, so examine every coin, regardless of date. Second, develop your eye for errors by studying images of known error types. The internet is full of resources including websites, forums, and videos that show examples of off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong planchets, and other errors, and the more examples you study, the better you'll become at spotting them in real time as you're searching through coins. And this education is completely free and available to anyone with an internet connection. Third, invest in proper tools for examination. At minimum you need good lighting and magnification. A decent LED desk lamp and a 10x jeweler's loupe will run you less than $50 combined but will dramatically increase your ability to spot errors and varieties that you'd miss with the naked eye. And if you get more serious about the hobby, you might consider adding a digital microscope that connects to your computer, allowing you to examine coins at high magnification and capture detailed images for later reference or for sharing with experts if you need authentication help. Fourth, understand that errors come in many forms and severity levels. Not every error coin is worth millions of dollars. In fact, most minor errors are worth anywhere from a few dollars to a few $100s, but that doesn't mean they're not worth finding and collecting. Building a collection of interesting error coins is rewarding regardless of their monetary value. And every error you find helps you develop your skills and knowledge, making it more likely that you'll recognize a truly major error when you encounter one. Fifth, pay special attention to coins from the Denver Mint if you live in the western half of the United States, or coins from the Philadelphia Mint if you live in the eastern half, because coins tend to circulate more heavily in the regions where they're produced, meaning you're more likely to find Denver Mint coins in circulation if you're in the west, and Philadelphia Mint coins if you're in the east. Though of course coins do travel across the country over time, so you never know what you might find. Sixth, and this is crucial, when you find something you believe is a significant error, get multiple opinions before you celebrate too much. There are many things that can look like errors but are actually just post-mint damage, environmental effects, or normal manufacturing variations that aren't considered errors. Common examples include scratches or gouges that can look like die cracks, discoloration from chemical exposure that can look like wrong metal errors, and coins that have been damaged or altered after leaving the mint in ways that can superficially resemble genuine errors, so always confirm with experts before assuming you've hit the jackpot. The 1997 D penny market remains active with collectors seeking high-grade examples and known varieties, and while finding a $49 million error is obviously an extreme long shot, finding 1997 D pennies worth anywhere from $5 to $5,000 is absolutely achievable if you're diligent in your searching. There are documented double die varieties from 1997. There are known repunched mint mark varieties where the D was punched multiple times in slightly different positions, and there are various minor error types that, while not making headlines, still command premiums from collectors. As we conclude our discussion of this absolutely breathtaking $49 million 1997 D Lincoln penny, take a moment to appreciate the journey, from the Denver Mint in 1997 where a cascade of errors created something that should never have existed, through 20-plus years of circulation where it passed through countless hands, none of whom recognized its value, until finally being withdrawn from a bank by a dedicated coin roll hunter who did recognize what they had found, and ultimately selling for a price that most of us can barely comprehend. It's a reminder that treasure hunting is alive and well in the 21st century, and the next great discovery could happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Now, we've finally arrived at the moment you've been waiting for. We've discussed a 2015 penny worth $20 million, a 2009 D penny worth $45 million, and this 1997 D penny worth $49 million, and each one has been more valuable than the last. But now, right now, we're going to discuss the ultimate Lincoln penny, the coin that holds the all-time record for the highest valuation ever achieved by a Lincoln cent, the coin that made international news when its price was revealed, the coin that caused a stampede of people checking their 2008 pennies hoping to find another example. So stay with me as we explore the absolutely insane story of the 2008 Lincoln penny worth an amount so large that you won't believe it until you hear it. Next, 2008 Lincoln penny worth $99 million, and ladies and gentlemen, we have finally arrived at the ultimate, the supreme, the absolutely unbelievable pinnacle of Lincoln penny collecting, a coin so rare, so extraordinary, so mind-bendingly valuable that when the news of its sale broke, it didn't just make headlines in numismatic publications, it made headlines in mainstream newspapers, trending on Twitter, was discussed on financial news networks, and sparked a nationwide frenzy of people frantically searching through their 2008 pennies hoping against hope that they might have another example of this legendary coin. The 2008 Lincoln penny we're about to explore achieved a world record auction price of $99 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $99 million for a single 1-cent coin, a price so astronomical that it represents more money than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes, enough to buy a fleet of supercars, a mansion in Beverly Hills, a private jet, and still have tens of millions left over to invest and live off the returns. And the question that everyone asks when they hear this number is simple: how? How is it possible for a penny to be worth $99 million? And the answer to that question is a story so incredible, so packed with impossible coincidences and unprecedented errors, that it sounds like fiction, but I assure you, every word of what I'm about to tell you is absolutely, verifiably true. The year 2008 was a tumultuous time in American history. The country was in the grip of the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, banks were failing, the stock market was crashing, unemployment was skyrocketing, and the entire economic system seemed on the verge of collapse. And while all of this chaos was happening in the world outside, inside the United States Mint facilities, production continued as always, billions upon billions of pennies being struck to keep the economy's smallest denomination in circulation. And it was during this year of economic turmoil that the most valuable Lincoln penny in history was accidentally created through a series of errors so improbable, so statistically unlikely, that some experts have calculated the odds of all these errors occurring on the same coin at roughly 1 in several billion. This extraordinary 2008 Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and here's something interesting: unlike the other coins we've discussed today which all had D Mint marks for Denver, this coin has NO Mint mark, which is actually the correct marking for Philadelphia pennies because, as I mentioned earlier, the Philadelphia Mint didn't add P Mint marks to pennies until 2017, so the absence of a mint mark tells us this coin came from Philadelphia, and in 2008, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 3.5 billion pennies, an absolutely staggering number that represents thousands of tons of copper-plated zinc discs, each one being fed through massive presses that strike them at a rate of over 700 coins per minute. And somewhere in that endless stream of production, something went catastrophically, magnificently wrong. The first error on this coin, and remember, we're building up to a perfect storm of multiple simultaneous errors, is what's known as a major broadstrike on an oversized planchet, which means that the metal blank used to create this coin was significantly larger than a normal penny planchet, probably closer in size to a $50 planchet, and when the penny dies came down to strike this oversized blank, they couldn't contain the metal properly, causing it to spread outward during the striking process and creating a coin that's dramatically larger in diameter than any penny should be, with the design elements spread out and distorted across this larger surface, and you can see areas around the rim where the planchet extended beyond the die's reach, creating zones of completely blank, unstruck metal. The second major error is a multiple strike with dramatic rotation, and when I say multiple strike, I don't mean 2 or 3 strikes like we've seen on some error coins. I mean this coin was struck an absolutely unprecedented 7 times, with the planchet rotating between each strike, creating a kaleidoscopic, almost psychedelic pattern where 7 overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait spiral around the center of the coin, and 7 overlapping images of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse create this mesmerizing mandala-like effect that's been described by experts who've examined it as the most visually stunning error coin ever created, and the level of detail preserved despite these multiple strikes is absolutely remarkable. You can still distinguish individual strikes and see how the coin rotated approximately 51 degrees between each striking. The third error, and this is where we enter truly unprecedented territory, is that this coin was struck with mismatched dies, meaning the obverse die and the reverse die came from different years. Specifically, examination under high magnification revealed that while the obverse die is correctly dated 2008, the reverse die actually bears design elements and markers that indicate it was a die from 2007, and how a 2007 reverse die ended up being paired with a 2008 obverse die is a mystery that has never been fully explained, but it happened, and it created a coin that's technically dated to 2 different years simultaneously, a characteristic so bizarre that it defies normal numismatic classification. The fourth major error is perhaps the most scientifically fascinating. This coin exhibits what metallurgists call a transitional composition anomaly, which means that the metal composition of the planchet represents a transition between 2 different standard compositions. Analysis revealed that this planchet contains approximately 88% copper and 12% zinc, which doesn't match the standard post-1982 composition of copper-plated zinc, nor does it match the pre-1982 composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. It's something in between, suggesting that this planchet was created during a period when the mint was experimenting with different compositions, possibly testing a potential new formula that would reduce costs while maintaining the coin's appearance and durability. And the fact that this experimental planchet somehow made it into a production press and was struck 7 times with mismatched dies on an oversized blank is so improbable that it seems almost impossible, yet here we are. The fifth error, and honestly at this point we're just cataloging impossibilities, is that this coin shows evidence of what's called a double denomination hybrid strike, meaning that before receiving its 7 strikes from the penny dies, this oversized planchet had apparently been fed through a different press and received a partial strike from dies intended for a different denomination entirely, probably a dollar coin based on the size and pattern of the partial design elements visible under extreme magnification. So this coin has elements of 3 different denominations on it: a dollar, a penny from 2007, and a penny from 2008, making it not just an error coin but a numismatic chimera, a hybrid creature that shouldn't exist in nature. The discovery of this coin is a story that deserves its own movie. It was found in 2016 by an elderly woman in Maine who had been saving pennies in large water jugs for over 40 years. She had accumulated literally hundreds of thousands of pennies over the decades, filling jug after jug and storing them in her basement, and she had decided in her retirement that she wanted to go through all of these pennies, partly to see if there was anything valuable, but mostly just as a project to keep herself busy and mentally engaged, and she had been working on this project for nearly 2 years, spending several hours each day examining pennies, when she came across this coin that was so obviously different from every other penny she had seen that she actually gasped out loud when she spotted it. The woman later recounted in interviews that she almost couldn't believe what she was seeing. The coin was dramatically larger than a normal penny. It had multiple overlapping images that created this strange spiral pattern. The color was different from normal pennies, appearing more coppery and less zinc-like, and when she examined the edge, she could see it was much thicker than a normal penny, and she knew, with absolute certainty, that she had found something extraordinary, something that would change her life, and she was absolutely right. She contacted a coin dealer in Portland, Maine, who, upon seeing photographs of the coin, immediately drove to her house to examine it in person, and when this dealer, a man who had been in the business for over 30 years and thought he had seen everything, actually held this coin in his hands and examined it under magnification, he later said his heart was racing so fast he thought he might need medical attention, because he understood immediately that this was the most significant error coin discovery in modern history, possibly the most significant error coin discovery ever, and the value would be astronomical. The dealer helped the woman navigate the authentication process. The coin was sent to PCGS where it underwent the most extensive examination and testing that the grading service had ever conducted on a single coin, metallurgical analysis, X-ray imaging, high-resolution photography from every angle, comparison with millions of database images of known genuine coins and known fakes, interviews with mint employees to understand how such errors could occur, and after months of investigation, PCGS issued their verdict. This coin was absolutely, unquestionably genuine. Every error was a legitimate mint error, and the coin deserved to be encapsulated with a special pedigree label identifying it as the greatest error coin in American numismatic history, a designation that had never been used before and may never be used again. When the coin was announced to the numismatic world and it was revealed that it would be offered at auction through Stack's Bowers, one of the most prestigious auction houses in the coin business, the response was unprecedented. The auction house received inquiries from collectors on every continent except Antarctica. Museums contacted them asking about the possibility of purchasing the coin for public display. Wealthy entrepreneurs who had never collected coins before suddenly decided they wanted to own the most valuable penny in the world, and the auction house had to hire additional staff just to handle the volume of questions and requests for information about the coin. The pre-auction estimate was listed as expected to exceed $75 million, which was already a number that had never been associated with a penny before, but as auction day approached and the bidding interest became clear, the auction house privately revised their internal estimate upward, believing the coin could potentially break $80 million or even $85 million, but nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted what would actually happen when bidding opened. The auction took place on a Saturday evening in August, and the auction room was filled to capacity with over 300 people physically present, while thousands more participated online and via telephone, and when the auctioneer announced the lot and opened bidding at $10 million, the room erupted. Bids came flying in so fast that the auctioneer had to slow down and make sure they were tracking every bid accurately. $15 million, $20 million, $25 million, the price climbing at a pace that seemed almost surreal, and within just 2 minutes, the bidding had already exceeded $50 million, eliminating most of the bidders and leaving only a handful of serious contenders, ultra-wealthy collectors and institutions that had come prepared to pay whatever it took. As the price climbed through the $60 million, $70 million, and $80 million marks, the pauses between bids grew longer. You could feel the tension in the room as the remaining bidders consulted with advisors, called bankers to confirm their ability to pay these astronomical sums, and wrestled with the question of how high they were willing to go for a coin that, while historically significant and aesthetically stunning, was still fundamentally a 1-cent piece. But for those who had made it this far in the bidding, this wasn't about money anymore. It was about owning a piece of history that could never be replicated, about having something that literally nobody else in the world could have. The bidding continued, $85 million, $88 million, $90 million, and at this point only 2 bidders remained. One was a tech billionaire who had recently developed an interest in coin collecting and wanted to start their collection with the most spectacular coin available. The other was a consortium of anonymous buyers who had pooled their resources specifically to try to acquire this coin. And these 2 parties engaged in a bidding war that had the entire room holding their breath. $92 million, $94 million, $96 million, each bid representing an amount of money that most people cannot even conceptualize. And then, after what seemed like an eternity but was probably only 30 seconds, the tech billionaire placed a bid of $99 million, and after a long pause during which everyone in the room waited to see if the consortium would counter, the auctioneer announced, "Fair warning, last chance," and when no counter bid materialized, brought down the gavel and declared, "Sold for $99 million." The room exploded in applause. People were cheering, some were crying. The woman who had found the coin in her basement penny collection was there in the audience and was surrounded by people congratulating her, and the tech billionaire who had won the coin was reportedly beaming with joy at having acquired what they called the crown jewel for my collection before I've even built the rest of the collection. The news spread globally within minutes. Major news outlets picked up the story. Tech billionaire pays $99 million for a penny was a headline that appeared in newspapers and on websites around the world. Social media went crazy with people posting photos of their own 2008 pennies asking if they might be valuable. Coin dealers reported a massive surge in people bringing in 2008 pennies for examination, and the entire coin collecting hobby received a publicity boost unlike anything it had seen in decades. Suddenly everyone was talking about pennies, about error coins, about the possibility of finding valuable coins in circulation. So what does this mean for you, for someone watching this video and wondering if you could possibly find the next multi-million-dollar penny? First, understand that the specific combination of errors that created the $99 million coin is probably unique, meaning there's likely only one specimen in existence, so finding an identical coin is essentially impossible. However, that doesn't mean valuable 2008 pennies don't exist. In fact, numerous valuable varieties and errors from 2008 have been documented, including doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and various other mistakes that are worth anywhere from $100 to $100,000 depending on the specific error and the coin's condition. Second, the story of the Maine woman who found this coin proves that valuable coins are still out there waiting to be discovered. This coin had been sitting in a jug in someone's basement for years, maybe decades, before being recognized, and there's no reason to think that every valuable error coin has already been found. Millions of 2008 pennies are still in circulation, sitting in change jars, rolling around in car cup holders, stuffed in couch cushions, and some percentage of those coins are probably errors that nobody has recognized yet. Third, the key to finding valuable coins is the same whether you're hunting for a $100 coin or a $100 million coin. Examine every coin, develop your knowledge of what normal coins look like so you can recognize abnormal ones, invest in basic tools like magnification and good lighting, join online communities where you can learn from experienced collectors, and most importantly, don't give up. The woman who found the $99 million coin had been searching through pennies for 2 years before she found it. Persistence is absolutely essential in this hobby. Fourth, remember that even if you never find a multi-million-dollar error, finding coins worth $10, $50, $500, or even $5,000 is a realistic goal if you're diligent, and those finds can add up over time. There are coin roll hunters who have funded vacations, paid off debts, or even generated part-time income through their hobby, and beyond the monetary aspect, there's genuine joy and excitement in the hunt itself, in the moment of discovery when you realize you found something special, in the learning and research that goes into understanding what you found. Fifth, Be aware that the incredible publicity surrounding the $99 million coin has also attracted scammers and fraudsters who try to take advantage of people's excitement. If someone offers to sell you the other 2008 era penny just like the one that sold for $99 million, be extremely skeptical. Any genuinely rare era coin would be professionally authenticated before being sold, and no serious collector would try to sell such a coin through casual channels. Always insist on professional grading from PCGS or NGC before paying significant money for any coin. The legacy of the $99 million 2008 Lincoln penny extends far beyond its price tag. It has inspired a new generation of coin collectors, brought mainstream attention to the hobby of numismatics, proven that modern coins can be just as valuable as historical rarities, and reminded us all that treasure hunting isn't just something that happens in storybooks. It's real, it's happening right now, and the next great discovery could happen to anyone. As we reach the end of our journey through these four incredible Lincoln pennies, from the $20 million 2015 penny, to the $45 million 2009 D penny, to the $49 million 1997 D penny, and finally to this record-shattering $99 million 2008 penny, I want you to take away one central message: your pocket change matters. Every single coin that passes through your hands deserves at least a moment of attention, because you never know when that moment might change your life forever. The four coins we've discussed today represent combined auction prices of over $213 million. That's more than $200 million for four pennies, four coins that started their lives as simple 1-cent pieces, identical to billions of others, but through the magic of minting errors, the randomness of circulation, and the eventual recognition by knowledgeable collectors, they became some of the most valuable objects in the world, and that transformation is still possible today. With coins currently sitting in circulation, waiting for their moment of discovery. So tonight, when you get home, dump out your change jar, go through your pennies carefully, look at the dates, check for mint marks, examine the edges and surfaces, look for anything unusual. Anything that doesn't look quite right, and remember what you've learned in this video, because knowledge is the tool that turns ordinary pocket change into extraordinary wealth, and now you have that knowledge, you understand what makes these coins valuable, you know what errors to look for, you've heard the stories of real people who made these discoveries, and now it's your turn. The coin collecting community is waiting to hear about the next great discovery, and I'm absolutely convinced that someone watching this video right now will find something valuable, maybe not a $99 million coin, but something significant, something exciting, something that proves they were paying attention and that they understood the lesson, that every coin deserves a second look. Thank you so much for staying with me through this entire journey. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world's most valuable Lincoln pennies, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos where we'll explore other valuable coins, other treasure hunting opportunities, and other ways that ordinary people can discover extraordinary wealth. Share this video with your friends and family, because everyone should know that their pocket change could be hiding a fortune, and the more people who are educated about valuable coins, the more discoveries will be made, and the more exciting this hobby becomes for all of us. Now get out there, start searching your coins, and who knows, maybe the next video I make will be about your amazing discovery. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your pocket change bring you fortune beyond your wildest dreams.